Thank you, Luke. All right, everyone. I want to welcome you to the October 12th meeting of the Planning and Development Committee. We have a quorum, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. Do we need to have a motion with respect to this committee?
Yes, you need to make a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll move that we suspend the rules to allow us to conduct the meeting using the online Zoom software in lieu of an in-person meeting in conformance with the governor's prior directives related to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Second.
Ms. Nyden, would you call the roll?
That's Alderman Fisk. Alderman Nguyen.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Ruth Simmons.
Aye.
Alderman Sufferton.
Aye.
Alderman Ravel.
Aye.
And Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So the first item on our agenda is P1 2020 Emergency Solutions Grant Recommendation, allocating funds to specific activities to assist homeless and housing insecure Evanston residents.
Move approval or second? I'm not sure. Did you move it?
I'll move approval.
Second.
Okay. Sarah, I saw you appear briefly there. Did you want to speak to this?
I will answer any questions. I don't know that this needs a presentation. It's
Okay.
probably pretty familiar.
Yes, thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Okay, I see none. Ms. Nyden, would you take the roll on this?
Alderman Fisk. Alderman Nguyen.
Aye.
Alderman Wilson.
Aye.
Alderman Ruth Simmons.
Aye.
Alderman Sufferton.
Aye.
Alderman Ravel.
Aye.
And Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to item number P2, approval of vacation rental license for a coach house at an owner-occupied property, 1131 Darrow. The staff recommends City Council approval of this vacation rental license for a coach house at an owner-occupied property on Darrow. I move approval.
Second.
Is there any discussion? City staff, Ms. Nyden, would you like to perhaps say a few words about this, or do you think it's self-explanatory?
I think it's self-explanatory, but there's one item that we wanted to get feedback, maybe before we vote, is the fact that when we wrote the vacation rental rules several years ago, we didn't necessarily contemplate accessory dwelling units, owner occupied in the primary, quote, main house, and an accessory dwelling unit. So we erred on the side of caution and brought this item, since it's not a specific building occupied by an owner, but the property has an owner occupancy. We would like further direction on how to amend the vacation rental licensing rules. Do you want to see these in the future if the owner is on physical property or site, or would you rather that we do these administratively like we do for owner occupied units?
I would ask that we do it administratively if the owner is on site, if it's an accessory dwelling. That would be my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alderman Nguyen, I apologize for interrupting. We do have four or five people that have signed up for public comments. I didn't know, how did you want to proceed with that?
Okay, thank you for reminding me, Luke. Do we have, before I have Alderman Rainey and Alderman Ravel, I see your hands, but Luke, do we have, are those, we have homeowners here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Becker. I apologize for forgetting about public comment. It just, without it right in my face with the list, I tend to forget. So are you the homeowner at 1131 Darrow?
I am.
Would you like to speak to go ahead and speak to the committee?
If there's any issue with us being on the property but not in the coach house itself, I would say that we are there to observe anything that might happen, and we don't want parties. We have an eye on our people that we will bring in, and we respect our neighbors and want to be good neighbors to the people around us. So if that is the issue with this discrepancy in the law, that is the case.
Yeah, I think it's actually,
questions for me.
it's not quite a discrepancy. It's something that actually ADUs were not something that we were thinking about when we originally had a requirement that the owner be present. If the owner is present, that it can be an administrative decision. So what the staff is doing is asking us to clarify whether that would be the same, the interest would be the same with an ADU.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Mr. Stowe, who do we have next on this item?
I think I'm going to defer to Ms. Knight, and she has the list. I think Mike Vassilko also had P&D general comments, I believe.
I'm not seeing any further comments for this item. I'm seeing some for P3 and P4, but if Mr. Vassilko has a comment on this item, and you'd like to take it.
Yes, Mr. Vassilko, did you want to speak to this item? I'm
I
not,
believe he's on the phone. It's *6 to unmute.
Mr. Vassilko, can you hear us? If you have comments, we'd like to hear them.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My comments weren't on that item in particular. So if you want me to wait, I'm happy to wait.
Well, if you wouldn't mind waiting, I'll call on you when we complete this item.
Thank you.
All right. All right, council or committee members, Alderman Rainey, you had your hand up.
Well, the only comment I wanted to make is, and I have no problem with a VRBO or Airbnb being in an ADU. However, one of the exciting parts of ADUs was to add to the affordable housing stock. And of course, if they're going to be ADUs used for vacation rentals or Airbnbs, that takes them out of the affordable housing stock. Just a comment.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Revelle, did you want to comment?
I was just agreeing with Alderman Simmons that having this type of situation handled administratively seems reasonable.
Yes. Okay. All right. Seeing no other hands.
Yeah, I also agree with that, Alderman.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you, Alderman Rainey. All right, Ms. Nyden, would you call it? The item has been moved and seconded. Would you call the roll, please?
Alderman Nguyen?
Aye.
Alderman Wilson?
Aye, sorry.
Alderman Simmons?
Aye.
Alderman Suffredin?
Aye.
Alderman Revelle?
Aye.
And Alderman Rainey?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
All right. Congratulations, Mr. Becker.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Mr. Vassilko, if you're still with us, would you like to offer your comments to the committee?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. Once again, and I said this APNW, I'd like to know which city manager candidate is being negotiated with and which candidates were voted in favor of by each alderman. There seems to be plenty of time to answer that question. I also want to take issue with the economic development proposals. I think it's 1 and 2. Now, here you are about to have discussions in the next meeting about raising taxes and borrowing more money and cutting positions. And now at the outset of that, you're proposing giving away $87,000 to the Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse and loaning and granting up to $50,000 to Heckey's. Both good companies, both want to make profits, but all the while, there's also every other business in town that could use a handout, but you're picking and choosing winners and losers. You're effectively buying votes as the next election approaches. And I really just don't understand why this council blindly continues to tax, spend, and borrow by giving away money, you're taking the money from the citizens one way or the other, and yet you continue to do that, in this case, under the guise of economic development. So I'd like to see you vote no on both of those issues. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vasilko. Those items will be at the main council, not at this committee. Okay, it's been pointed out to me by staff that we also need to approve the minutes. So if there is a motion with respect to the minutes, I will entertain it.
Move approval?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, Ms. Nyden, would you take?
Alderman Nguyen,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Ruth Simmons,
Aye.
Alderman Suffredin,
Aye.
Alderman Ravel,
Aye.
and Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
All right, minutes have been approved. Thank you very much. So the next item is P3. I'll just read the item and we can get started with any public comment. So it's Ordinance 95-020, amending Title VI of the Evanston Code to revise regulations regarding domestic animal daycare centers and kennels. The Plan Commission recommends the City Council adopt this ordinance, and I move introduction.
Second.
Second.
All right. Okay. Ms. Nyden, do we have public comment with respect to P3?
There are two signed up, and I believe they're the applicant for P4, Sarah Lewis and Tracy Cross.
Okay. Ms. Lewis, would you like to start? Or whichever, either one of you would like to start?
I'll begin.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I'm Sarah Lewis, and I'm in support of both P3 and P4 on the agenda for introduction tonight. My husband and I are longtime Evanston residents, although we did spend the last couple years out in Southern California. And I had the pleasure of using a dog daycare out there called Dogtopia. Upon returning home, my husband and I made the decision that we really wanted to invest in this business and in our community by bringing this fresh and modern store to our town. Dogtopia is really intended for urban and downtown areas with well-defined specifications that make it suited as an ideal neighbor. So this is really perfect to care for the ever-growing number of pups in our area, and the location fits so well into a pet parent's daily routine. So I will be the primary operator of the store and on site most days. We are very, very excited to bring this to Evanston and really contribute to the continued revitalization, longevity, and success to the downtown area. There's so much more to tell about Dogtopia, but I have a number of my team on the Zoom call. I have my attorney, there's a couple of experts, as well as Tracy from the support office, who can answer any questions that you may have. And so I thank you for your time. I understand this is for introduction. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Nyden, you said, who is next? Tracy Cross? Is that correct?
Tracy, I didn't know if that was a part of the team for Dogtopia.
Okay, who is our next? So are you our next speaker, Ms. Cross? Or that's part of the team?
She's part of the team. Yes,
Okay,
and she's available for questions. So.
Okay, all right. So committee, do we have questions with respect to Dogtopia? Anyone?
So let's vote on it.
Okay. All right, let's
I
take.
love it.
Yes.
Alderman Nguyen,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Ruth Simmons,
Aye.
Alderman Suffredin,
Aye.
Alderman Ravel,
Aye.
and Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Okay, P3 passes.
All right, excellent. Okay, so now we're going to move on to P4. I hope you all don't mind that I'm reading all these in the interest of time.
No.
Ordinance 96-020, authorization to grant a special use permit for a daycare, domestic animal, and kennel located at 900 Clark Street in the RP Research Park District, Dogtopia of North Shore, LLC. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends that the City Council adopt with conditions this ordinance to allow the special use permit for a dog daycare and kennel in the Research Park. I move introduction.
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions with respect to this one? They're interrelated, obviously. Okay, do we have any speakers with respect to this one? Ms. Nyden? Okay,
Do not.
all right. I have one question. Can you tell us what your timeline for opening will be? And I'm sorry if that was in the materials. I did look through them, but I may have missed that.
No worries at all. It depends on once we have the building permit. The build out is a 3-month timeframe.
Okay,
So we're hoping for March, April.
okay, all right.
Good. Excellent.
That's very good. Okay, and you're right. We seem to have more dogs and more dogs and more dogs. So,
And more dogs downtown.
Lots of puppies.
Yeah.
Yep.
the puppies. Yes. Yep. Mhm. Okay. Shall we do? This is for introduction. Ms. Nyden, do we need to take a vote? Yes. Okay.
Okay, Alderman Nguyen,
Yes.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Marie Simmons,
Aye.
Alderman Sufferton,
Aye.
Alderman Ravel,
Aye.
Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Great. Thank you very much. Now it'll move on to the council. So let's move on to item P5, Ordinance 94-020, granting major zoning variations to construct an upper story dwelling unit atop a one-part commercial building in the B1A Business District and overlays Central Street Corridor Overlay District at 1800 Central Street. The ZBA and Planning and Zoning staff recommend adoption with conditions of this zoning variation. And I move introduction.
Second.
Okay, discussion? Alderman Ravel?
Well, I'd just like to speak in support of this variation, major variation. It's a second floor addition that fits really very well into that part of the Central Street block and very compatible with the adjacent buildings to the west. One of the variances is to say that they don't need to provide the required step back, which there really are no other buildings in that area on the west part of that block that have the step backs. It would really break up the building walls, so I think that's a very reasonable variance. And the parking variation is appropriate because there's just a lot of public transit right in that very area. And the idea that it would be affordable, aimed at the missing middle, that it would be for rented for people at 120% of AMI or lower. So I think that's a really nice, reasonable public benefit. So I urge all of us to approve this.
Mm-hmm. Alderman Rainey, did you have your hand up?
I just wanted to say that it feels good to see things happening. You know?
Yeah.
Mhm. Feels good.
Yeah. I would add that Alderman Ravel, you're absolutely right. I drove around this site today, and I think it's really an innovative use of space, airspace. And I think once this is built, you probably won't be able to distinguish it from the other very nice corner building that's right there. So we have in our outside downtown business areas, outside of those downtown business areas, we have a number of retail spaces that are just one story like this. And this is really an interesting idea on, I wouldn't call it adaptive reuse, but enhancing the current use. So I think this is really interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Ms. Nyden, would you call the roll?
Sure. Alderman Nguyen,
Aye.
Alderman Wilson,
Aye.
Alderman Marie Simmons,
Aye.
Alderman Sufferton,
Aye.
Alderman Ravel,
Aye.
and Alderman Rainey.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Okay, so I believe that concludes our agenda. And that, does the city council, does it have a particular start time? I'm trying,
It was 5:30.
5:30, okay. So I have it that it's 6:08. And why don't we have the council start in 5 minutes? It's 6:13 if everyone's here.
And let's do a motion to adjourn too.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those, Ms. Nyden, would you?
No, you can just do, you don't need to, you don't need to do roll call.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right. Thank you all.